Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the KISS Men's Crit Europe, presented by Tax. We are out on course for 7 laps today on the Volcano course. It is going to, well, as well as, the men's and the women's race. And racers are 155 to the start for the men's. It looks like 440 to the start of the women's race as well. 7 laps as well for them over on the Volcano course. I'm going to welcome the broadcast, though, our co-commentator today, Mr. Quentin LaFay. We have a little chat here about how things have been playing out over the series so far. I do have Zwift Power open right now for the league. 4 events so far down registered for the leader, Kim Little, it looks like, for Europe, and then 4 races as well for Rachel Elliott. So both of the leaders definitely a little bit expected there within the series, Quentin.
Yeah, maybe expected, but what's interesting to see is that this is race 3 of the series, and what happened is that in the first batch of series, they took the best 2 results for every rider, and they added it to the first 2 results they got for right now. So that's why Kim is in the lead right now, because the first 2 actual races that were in this series were won by Team Cartwright in the men category, and he won on the Volcano the first week, and on the London Classic course the second week. Both in a sprint finish, actually, as you can expect in that kind of crit races. And Rachel won her races as she always does, TTing from the start.
Yeah, that's definitely her style. We do have 41 women though signed up today. It looks like for the race over there, maybe gonna have some competition for. We'll have to see how she does start out. The men are getting going out on course here. It looks like here heading toward that Volcano, and with 200 plus men starting out here, it's gonna be fast and furious from the get-go here. Trzynski is there from Team Poland. It looks like Kane Sports Adrian Timmis, ex-Tour de France riders, out there as well. Chris Wonas, Phillips, a whole lot of riders here. We're going to try and make our way toward the front, and as things start to weed out here a little bit, Fleetwood from Vision throwing down immediately that Aero Power Up, trying to maybe break things up a little bit. Now, this is going to be interesting. You know, it really matters right from the get-go, Quentin, whether or not you're able to hang on to this pack. You know, once it settles down, you make the break, good to go. But there's definitely this initial kick that you have to be able to go with out on the races here.
Yeah, it's the first trap when you come into Zwift racing. Is that the starts of the races are always cyclocross like, and it's full gas from the gun, and yeah, well, it's something you could expect for with this kind of short races, is that it goes full gas from the start, and if you don't make it to the lead pack, there's no way you're getting back in there, because, well, the speed builds up and the difference grows as well, and the pack is going away, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and it's definitely a factor as well. The race is going to be about an hour long or so. And so it's definitely going to be everything they have a lot of times up front. Now, the women are getting going here in just a second, about 59 seconds, as the men do sort out the start of their race and figure out where they are at out on course here. I want to chat a little bit. So for the women's race, Rachel Elliott, current series leader, but looks like Fred76 currently with 65 points, with just a 3rd place though. Z Kreider's out there with a 2nd place with 4 races in, but there's a few riders that are starting to creep up on the leaderboard. We're seeing Anya Ludendorff out there, as well as Joanna Abbott there with just 2 races, but Joanna with a win actually. It looks like in the last race that we had before the holiday season. So we took a couple week break, and Joanna grabbing that win, only 2 races in, 39 points, starting to creep into those top spots actually. So I'll be watching out for her. Linda Gray out there with 4 races in, sitting with 38 points and 6 points. Carrie Conover with only 2 races another rider who's always strong, has been doing a lot of these live events. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with the series, actually, this is a competition for entry into the live events that will be taking place, actually. So this is an eCrit racing series virtually, and the top 10 from the European eCrit series will get invites to the live event, actually. So they are battling out here. And so over at the leaderboards over at zwiftpower.com that I'm looking at right now, it's the top 10: Rachel Elliott, Fred 76, Z Kreider, Anya Ludendorff, Joanna Abbott, Lindy Gray, Carrie Cornebear, Cassie Baldy, Kristen Falk, and it looks like Jerlene Vanderbeek is going to be the top 10 currently. And right on the edge there, we have In Jansen, Hannah Wood, looks like Willamage Prinz as well from PTZ, and they're all within just a few points. So this is going to be an all-out battle to be able to be in that top 10, Quentin.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely a battle because, well, the first spot gives you a little jersey that we can see right now on the screen on Rachel, but the most important thing in that series is to be in that top 10. And as we see right now, the top 10 is very close from the followers. I mean, the girl in Vandenberg in 10th place has 31 points, no, 32 points as of right now, and Inge Janssen at 31, Anna Wood with 29, and Wilmington Prince with 26, as same as Claire Pollard. So a lot of things can still happen for that top 10, and that's what matters in the qualification for the live event.
Yeah, it's right on the edge, actually. So for a lot of these riders, actually, and same within the men's race, the top 10 is going to, we have people tied for 13th, 12th, 11th, 10th within this women's race. 8th place is now currently tied, it looks like, as well, with Cassie Baldy and Kristen Falcon. Those few points out on course is definitely going to matter every single round out here. So now we do see Rachel here hammering away her usual style here. We'll see if she can. She's already opened up 18 seconds, and I have a feeling the riders are going to say, Rachel, class of her own, letting her go at this point right away, or maybe just unable to hang on. But we are seeing Angerman here now, 4.6 watts per kilogram, trying to do a solo TT of her own, maybe finish it early on and not be just doesn't want to be bothered with having to ride in a pack and have anybody else that's competition around here. Prinz now from PTZ, though, coming out of the Netherlands now, with Kreider trying to chase her down. And here's the main group now at this point. We do see it looks like a group of about solid 10 or 11 riders trying to bring Prinz back in the fold. Definitely going to be crit racing for this group, though, where it's going to be all about moving forward, making sure you're up toward the front as this course continually comes at you, Quentin. Maybe a little bit about that. Like, what kind of course is the volcano course? I mean, it really just has no reprieve from my experience.
Well, it's a very difficult course, and the interesting thing today is that we are going to see it from both sides. The men are going counterclockwise, I think, and with that double kick at the finish line with that first kick at the 1 kilometer, and then a little bit of flattening out, and then the last 300 meters going up again. And the women's race is going clockwise, the other way around, and the sprint at the end is just like the 5 or 6 final 100 meters going up, and it's going to be interesting.
Is that right? To see. Did they actually go?
I think so. I mean, on Zwift Power, it was announced reverse compared to the men's race. So okay. I think they are going different ways.
We'll
but I could be wrong.
Make sure that. Well, I mean, if it was announced on Zwift Power, we'll have to double check and see and make sure that they did head that direction. And so let's get back in with the men's race though here real quick. And I just want to let everybody know that is watching the broadcast, you do have the ability to have interaction directly with our broadcast actually here. So if you want to jump in with any questions or comments, this is a great question actually coming from Evan, asking us if this is the same as the CVR World Cup series. And no, this is definitely not the same. Those are two different series for two different live events. The CVR World Cup League will have its own live event, and the Zwift E-Crit presented by KISS is going to be, and presented by KISS and Tax for Europe, as well as the KISS E-Crit series presented by Cyclops for North America, are both going to be having their own live events as well that there's qualification for. So not the same thing. Great question there, Evan. And we will having coverage of the Tuesday CVR World Cup race for Zone E at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time USA, as well as coverage for the E-Crit for both the Europe and then the East. And then the coverage for the West for the North America is going to be community based. So we'll be focused on streamers in the community who are streaming their experience or their commentary, or however they would like to present the West E-Crit for North America. So there's the as far as what these are, and you can always find more information on them on the E-Crit over at Zwift's website, as well as ZwiftPower.com has some great description in there as well. So it looks like things are already breaking apart, actually. I'm sitting in about 64th place with Bakalov here, actually, within the men's race as they head out of the volcano now. Barroso here as well. We are seeing a pack about 13 seconds back at this point with Huckenstein, G. Ash, Huckenstein, Stromsholm is out there as well. Group of three, that's a, well, group of four, but that's going to feel like a lonely group with that massive group up ahead that is absolutely flying at this point, Quentin.
Yeah, when you are like that four dropped from the peloton, you have very few chances to come back. I mean, it would take a monstrous effort to get back to the peloton because the guys up front are flying, and
speaking
they
of
usually
flying,
are the
Quentin,
strongest one. And
look who is going. You were speaking about this man, and I wasn't sure if he was going to show up again because he was not showing up to a few of the races, but I'm seeing Tim Cartwright out here, currently sitting in 7th place. He's got 2 wins from the original series, and it looks like he's jumping back in here. And I think the series leader, Kim Little, might have a little bit of a fight on his hands, having KRT showing up in full support of the man Tim Cartwright here, Quentin.
exactly, we see Tim Cartwright with Matt Sinclair already trying to break things up, and I think it's Alderi going on with them. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because Cartwright didn't seem too happy with having to sprint the first 2 times. So maybe he's trying to break things apart earlier this week and trying to make the race something else.
Trying to get away a little bit earlier. He is a TT specialist. Both he and Rachel, who's already off the front in the women's race, very much TT specialists and have just huge power they can throw down. Out on this crit course, it's going to be difficult, though, with a large group chasing him down. Look at this. There's at least 60 to 70 men here, not letting that go. And he's got how much support is the question does he have out there today from KRT? I am seeing quite a few KRT jerseys up toward the front here of this race. For those that are unfamiliar with Zwift racing with teams, there are definitely teams in game, some with their own kits in game as well. The KRT kit here, if we go ahead and zoom in, looks just like this, the KISS Racing Team kit. This is Tim Cartwright here showing it off on that Tron bike for us. So, and one of the most successful racers actually in the world of Zwift, and also a very successful racer in real life. You know, a lot of times we do get people going, well, what's up with this? This is all virtual. It's not real life, but it definitely has real power numbers being thrown down with real heart rates on real bikes right now. Tim Cartwright, 199 races actually out on Zwift, about to hit 200, I think, with the one that he's doing right now. He's got an FTP of 380 watts and has some amazing elite level TT in real life race accomplishments here. Now 9 watts per kilogram again. It looks like the tactic from him today is going to be just throw the watts on early and early and early over and over again and try and break them with continual moves. Pete Phone going with them from Innovation. This is another elite cyclist coming out of Switzerland, actually professional, domestic. Phone now going with him. If Peter and Tim get away here, this is a threat, Quentin.
It's a big threat, exactly, and it would be an even bigger threat if a couple of other riders would come with them. I'm thinking maybe Chimit, who is a very good TT specialist on Zwift. Maybe not so much of a sprinter, or someone from Team Poland as well. They are coming in numbers as well to torture you today as well. And
To torture you today. I love it. They're coming in numbers to torture you today. I have this like this scene in my head of like these bikers in spandex with torture tools coming to get you guys today, man. I absolutely love it. So Cartwright now kicking in the torture. 175 beast rib, 521 watts right now, and the Watt bike S Young is trying to close that down, but he's up at 180 beats per minute almost. They're trying to bring this back, but the torture is off the front now at this point, it looks like. I'm not sure they're going to be able to do it here, but only 4 seconds. They're going to have some serious continuous with this attack right now.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult because when you are in a group like that, maybe like with only two guys, especially in the downhills, you have to push so much power than the rest of the guys in the group in the peloton, and it's almost mission impossible to go away from that group. And we already see people getting lapped right from the second lap actually, and that shows how fast these guys are going, and especially Cartwright and Phone right now, just demolishing the first two laps. And it's going to be interesting to see where they end up because they are throwing a lot of chips on the table right now. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they end up paying for that kind of effort.
Now, this is interesting to see Innovation trying to send another one up the road. Gavin using that speed from that downhill out of the volcano to kick over to the group with that 3 seconds. They could work with this actually, and to have two Innovation in here, both fairly strong. Well, Phone being a little bit of a kicker, a little bit more of a puncher, I think, but Richardson definitely being that triathlete, able to hold down some solid power right along with Cartwright. This is now becoming a breakaway group that could stay away, and because they have this uphill grind now at this point, I have a feeling we might see a few more use the kick into this climb and try and make their way up to the front of this race now. Now, we are seeing, it looks like a lot of aero power-ups, lots and lots of feather power-ups, which do reduce the weight of their avatars on this uphill here. Now the current series leader making his way to the front. It is Kim Little, seeing the threat off the front at this point, wants to make his way into this break, most likely not let it go. Maybe just trusting though at this point. I'm not seeing a lot of Team of Experimental though out here today. Is he isolated? Because I'm not seeing a lot of X's out there.
I think he is. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other Team Experimental guy. And the only team in force right now in the peloton is Team Poland, and I'm not seeing just a couple of BRT riders. But I was mistaken. Kim had Jess Fabes with him, but okay. I mean that's only two experimental guys against there's already two Innovation in the front, but it looks like the pack is coming back.
So look at all the KISS Racing Team jerseys though. At the same time though, KRT. With Mail out here, they've got, I think the double header actually, mountain bikers out of Norway showing up with V-Mail, and I'm seeing if the other boy out of
they
Norway
have Kayland as well.
Kayland is there as well.
Kayland is in the mix, as well as the Eggerty from the UK, and so Matt Sinclair and Martin Tucker from South Africa.
And they're not going to be doing any work at this point. You do see Richardson, Cartwright saying enough is enough, though. They're up into 176 beats per minute, and they're no longer over 6 watts per kilogram. That was a lot of energy burned. But now that little bit of a lull, and they're not quite back, actually. Richardson dropping off, but Phone now fading to 4.7 watts per kilogram. That might be all he actually has left in the legs. Cartwright saying, okay, looks like this is done, maybe. But no, is it a counter? That would be the question. They are caught now at this point, so it was a solid attack Cartwright's still trying to push the pace, it looks like here. And, you know, the reprieve moment, the pack might say, you know, we're back with them. Let's rest up now at this point. Cartwright going, nope, enough is enough. We're going to kick again. But unable to make anything happen, it looks like here, as the blob brings them right on back, as Mr. Ian Anderson likes to say. So looking through here, seeing the comments coming through over at Twitch as well. Good to see all you guys. For those of you who don't know, we are live over at twitch.tv/Zwift Community Live, as well as Zwift's Facebook page. All of our content also has VODs over on YouTube, videos on demand on YouTube, if you do want to find those as well. There's a whole lot of chat going on over at the Twitch channel, though, if you haven't done so and you want to get live notifications every time that we go live with anything from Zwift Community Live, head on over to our Twitch channel, hit that follow button. You'll get emails and notifications through the Twitch desktop app or mobile app if you do turn them on anytime that we go live. A little bit better than the social media platforms as far as knowing whenever we are live, just because social media platforms tend to tell you what is popular on an algorithm rather than just the content that you've asked for a lot of times. So looking through here now, it looks like we had a few drop off from those attacks, though. 24 seconds back, Jay Sims right along with Ambimid. So the attacks have calmed down now. So let's get back into the racing with the women. Now, I know we do have probably a couple questions. Where is Lindsay today? As usually this scene has Lindsay Guerra with us as our women's correspondent, but Lindsay is feeling pretty sick today. Not really even able to walk a whole lot. So I think she's got some flu going on or something. It's gone through the house a whole bunch. We had a whole bunch of kids staying home actually the last couple days from school as well, coming out of the holidays. So hopefully Lindsay will be better for us most likely by next week. And, you know, best wishes to her for getting well. But just so everybody knows, our women's correspondent was unable to make it today. And so we got to deal with Quentin up above me here.
I'm sorry for that. I'm very sorry. I'm also sorry because I was actually mistaken at the beginning. The women are actually racing in the same way the guys are, and they are going right now up that little climb up to the finish line, and we can actually see right now that Rachel is up, but she's up alone, and right behind her is that very large group that we can see right now, and that is well, it's very unusual to have that large of a group behind her, because usually you have 1, 2, 3 stronger riders that come up that come out of this group and form the first chase, and there's none of that today.
Yeah, I did see an attack early on. I believe it was from Anya Lundorf, I believe. No, Angerman. It was Angerman, but she was unable to get away. Angerman was unable to get away. Now, what's interesting to me that Rachel has 128. At this point in the race, though, usually she has a little bit more. So I think the group is really working together here. I'm not sure they're going to be able to bring her back, though. I mean, it would be a huge effort. But they are definitely working well together at this point. But 3.2 watts per kilogram here coming from McKay out of, looks like Australia, actually. Really sitting in a little bit, actually, McKay, actually, it looks like. Only 121 beats per minute. So solid effort from McKay out there. On Z-Power, though. Unable to win the race. For those of you who might be wondering, it must be a strain gauge or smart trainer power source in order to win these races or get into the finals for these races, I believe. And so valiant effort and great workout out there for riders on the Z Power, but unable to take down the points though. So now looking forward, Angerman here, 4.5 watts per kilogram, killing it. It looks like 163 beats per minute right now. Trying to break things apart again, and she keeps on going like this in order to, it looks like, try and get away for her own TT effort. She does not want a sprint finish. She does not want so many with her as well, most likely. I mean, Angbo here sitting, it looks like 13th place right now, and is going to be trying to hang on there. We lost them for just a moment there. Hopefully we'll be able to stick with the group there. But now Barroso with a drop off the back of that pack, actually. So Barroso was hanging on for a long time along with Tucker, but no longer with this lead group. And it looks like it was because of maybe another attack that took place. Or are they starting to get some lapped riders? I think the stickers that you like to call them are starting to get involved here, Quentin.
Yeah, on the crit course, the stickers are, well, something you have to be aware of, and something that's part of the race, because it happens in real life on the road as well. And you always have the laps guys trying to get to stay in the pack, and well, yeah, it happens on the road as well. But on Zwift, it's stickier because you have that draft effect that you get in the draft of a slower rider, and you have to make a bigger push to go around him. And usually, when you're at the back of the pack, you're already kind of suffering, and that effort might be the one too much, and it's especially really hard on the nerves to have to produce that useless effort, pretty much.
Yeah, so
To
you have to power by. So it's a little different
yeah.
in Zwift and in real life, obviously. That in real life, I turn my handlebars and go by the rider. Unless I'm suffering so bad that I just need to hold on to the rider's wheel that's right in front of me. But in Zwift, the turning of the handlebars is making sure that your wattage and speed is as high as those who are going by the others. And if you're just hanging on to somebody's wheel right in front of you, and your wattage and your speed is only hanging on to them because of the draft, and then you happen to come by a lapped rider who's bumps up for just a moment, or you end up on their wheel and you don't power by because you don't have the effort to do so, or you forget to do so, you could end up sticking onto the wheel of that other rider, and that lapped rider ends up being traffic that and another obstacle that you got to deal with because you are going backwards at that point. Now Turksma with an attack. This is interesting. 12.8 miles in so far, about halfway through the race now, and Turksma going off the front now. 7.6 watts per kilogram coming from him, and it looks like he's got a solid 2 seconds. Will they see this a threat, Quentin?
Yeah, it's well, alone. I don't think it's a real threat, because when you're alone, you get tired really fast, and you can't hold 6 or 7 or even 5 or 5.5 all by yourself for whatever time you need to. It's really hard, and the pack is coming back easily and really fast. And maybe I think he was expecting to get some company, maybe from Cartwright, maybe from Innovation, maybe from Team Poland, maybe from some other KRT riders as well, or maybe from Kim Little. But I mean, when you go out alone on the front, it's not going to stick.
Yeah, so he went there early. Actually, I'm not sure. It wasn't exactly. He wasn't able to hold on to that gap at that point. But Cartwright definitely with a counter attack here. Kim Little went right to the front as well. We thought, at least I thought, we might have seen some action there at the front there from the series leader. But I think he is just looking for making a solid effort out here today and really solidifying his point lead. So he's going to be very careful out here today not to waste too much energy, because he's got a lot of people to sprint against today in the finish if he does look for a pack finish. But V-Mail here now going up the front, now off the front now with Cartwright, and we are seeing Trzynski here, one of the strongest Polish riders we've seen out on course recently. He's an elite mountain biker out of Poland, actually, with an aero power up now, really starting to ramp up the speed as they exit the volcano. And they're about 4 or 5 off the front now, as you can see. Whiteley's there as well. It looks like Wonchen out of Denmark. We've got Phillips and Mail, and then Grant Phone allowing it to go, though. And Phillips is in there with the Welsh flag there, and it looks like it is going to beat. Now, this is a threat. There's enough in this group that's going to act like its own its own pack now at this point and be able to build speed. And unless somebody on the front end of that larger group really hammers away. Now, why would KRT close this down? I do not know, because Sinclair is working against his own team at this point, because isn't Mail out there, but he's pushing 5.9 watts per kilogram. V-Mail here now, and Cartwright is out there as well, 6.9 watts per kilogram. Maybe just trying to up the speed to hurt somebody in the pack, but that's just going to bring them all back. It looks like Sinclair's backed off at this point, though, and it's going to be Cartwright, Richardson, Phillips. They're all off the front now. They might be able to hold on to this. 6 or 7 riders. Can they do it, Quentin? I think this is enough to make it happen if they work together.
I don't know if it's enough to go to happen, but it's definitely a very dangerous move, and it was really weird that Sinclair was the one working at the front of the pack behind them. And well, you definitely have all the elements in that front group to make it stick. You have innovation riders, you have Team Poland riders, you have 2 KRT riders, and there we see Kalen now working at the front of the peloton.
I think he's faking. I think he's faking and pulling it back and like going to the front and then slowing it down.
You can be faking, but being faking like that and going to the front, you are giving momentum to the group.
Yeah. In Zwift, I'm not sure if it happens, if it helps as much as it does in real life to go to the front and slow down. As soon as you bring that momentum to the front, it keeps the speed going high here. Now we do see Szerzynski chasing as well, but he has a teammate up there. A very odd situation happening here. Maybe no love lost between the riders, and they just want to get the points. They just want to go to the final. Maybe there's less team tactics going on here than we assume, Quentin.
Yeah, no more team tactics. Team don't mean anything, and you just can't. You just basically throw that out the window, and you just race with your heads down. And when you hear the bell, you know it's the last lap. You count 5 minutes in your head, and then you're done. I think that's what we got here. Like.
So looking through here now, Devsky here. They've got a solid 5 seconds. It looks like still, and it's definitely a threat. This is going to be the moment they're going to bring him back, if they are going to bring him back, because it's that flat after the downhill, uphill grind. There's going to be some momentum going into it. Lots of people up and out of the saddles. That means they're going into those orange numbers here. So the attacks are happening to bring it all back. Probably some handlebars being hit at this point. A little bit of frustration, I would think, from the riders who are in that lead group, because they had a solid gap. It was doable, and then it was brought right back into the fold. They didn't get that 10 to 15 second gap that you really need to have any kind of hope out on Zwift here. So looks like they're going to head back into the uphill here now. And this is going to be another moment, because riders who did not go with that and did sit in might have a chance actually at this point to try and make an attack. We do see a KISS Racing Team rider up toward the front there with a feather power-up, a couple of arrow power-ups. Pete Phone's there. Kim Little at the front. It looks like he's just trying to position himself well, though. Cartwright, though, 10 watts per kilogram again. It looks like he's right next to Kim there. Right, looks like Phone is there as well. The Danish rider here, Soren Baby, watching out for him as he makes his way up toward the front. Bruno Vieira still able to hang on to this pack now, it looks like. And looking, Cartwright still looking pretty calm. 174 beats per minute, though. Heart rates are high. And I've got no predictions at this point. It is anyone's race still. And there could be a sleeper still at this point. Somebody who's been sitting in, playing it smart. Kim Little, it seems like. Drujon as well, sitting in. We've been seeing BRT fairly quiet so far. Any others out there that maybe are solid sprinters, Quentin? They've been keeping it pretty quiet.
A certain Tobias Müller from Germany, who's won quite a lot of races lately, if I recall right. I think I saw his name quite a lot. Yeah, he won the last 3 races he did, and yeah, he's got quite a lot of races to his palmarès. So I think he could be one to watch out for. But I mean, the moment we just saw right now was kind of surrealist, and the one who won that lap was maybe Kim Little, because he was in the pack. He was almost alone in the pack with the yellow jersey, and the guys that had teammates up front brought him back. So maybe he's throwing some team experimental contracts out there, or I don't know. But he was definitely the main winner of that lap because he didn't have to push in any way, and I mean. He might be one to look for now because he didn't do that much effort today, and he's been helped quite a lot up until now. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe just watch for Kim right now.
Yeah, I would be watching out for Kim for sure because he's been sitting in, playing it super smart. Cartwright, on the other hand, if we look at the average watts per kilogram so far, Cartwright has put out 5.1 watts per kilogram for the duration of the race so far. So definitely been hammering out there and continues to attack here. If I look through and find Kim, it looks like he's put out 4.4, so a full half a watt per kilogram, actually less, sitting in a little bit more. Amongst the leaders, though, Tobias Mueller, that you were saying has been winning a lot, 4.2 watts per kilogram. He has been resting up, it looks like, riding for Team R2 out of Germany. So watch out for Tobias for sure, maybe to have a solid sprint. 112 races out on Zwift. FTP of 348 watts. But you were saying he's got a solid 15-second sprint, and we are seeing he's able to do about 12 watts per kilogram or so for 15 seconds, according to ZwiftPower.com. So definitely be watching out for Tobias for a solid kick from him to the line as they're about to finish up. We're going to come into the bell lap here in a moment. A lap and a half to go. They'll be racing a total of 33K or 20 miles out there today. So back in with the women's race as the boys finish out their half a lap here before they start their final. Let's go ahead and see what's happening with the ladies as it looks like we are back in with the chase group with Inslee here. Has been broken apart though. And I believe there was an attack, most likely, I think it was Angerman who is really causing things to heat up out there. But 11, we're trying to find the leaders now though. We did get a little bit of a pushed around here and there. We weren't able to stick with the pack completely here, but we are seeing Rachel Elliott about to lap through here actually. And there's the chase actually with McKay coming out of Australia actually. There's that lead chase group actually. So Rachel Elliott with a solid 229. Solid effort here from her. And still 157 beats per minute. Looks like she's gotten into a rhythm and is going to be walking away with another win out here. Series leader in that yellow jersey. Always cool to see. I love how Zwift has put the yellow jerseys for the leaders of the series into the game. Pretty cool feature, Quentin.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, we saw in the past few years a couple of stage races happening on Zwift. I'm thinking about the Tour de Zwift back in 2016, the Odyssey Omnium as well at the end of 2016, and more here and there some race series. More well closer or maybe further apart from one another, but the apparition of the yellow jersey is definitely something the organizers should be really happy about, because well that means something for the riders, and it's a little bit of pressure on the leader, but well, you know, it's always good to get that kind of recognition, and well, and the last thing is that well, it looks good.
Yeah, exactly. The recognition is great. It's amazing. It's really nice to have that in Jersey, and it's a little bit of a, you know, people think something people can chase after, and I think Kim Little right now is defending that jersey along with Tim Cartwright and a few others that are right there in the points, trying to bring that jersey within the fold of their team. So it's also a little pride, I think, too, for the teams. And KRT looking to get the jersey, I think, on both of their top athletes, which would be Tim Cartwright, I think, and Rachel Elliott. Now, Ari here asking, why is Tim pushing so hard off the front? And we've got a great response. And this is actually the best response to have, because He is Tim. And I have to agree for that one as well. Thomas
right
Gendros with a Thomas Gendros here with the fist saying for Tobias Mueller from Brew Riders R2. So got some definite cheering on for him. So let's get in with the men's race though, as they are about to finish up here into the final lap. They just came up and over the top of the climb and into the final lap now. And we did see an attack from Tim Little, Tim Little? No, Tim Cartwright. Tim Cartwright. They're the same person. Just mix them together. Ultra cyclist, morphine, mighty Power Rangers. We need that Power Rangers soundbite back. Although they probably wouldn't like us to play it in reference to them as it was a Z Power thing whenever we'd use it. But there was an attack, though, from Tim Cartwright through the start-finish line. It didn't go anywhere, but Kaylin now with a little bit of a counter. I think this may be going into this last lap here. I think it's probably a bait at this point. You know, let him go, and if he gets it, he gets it, right? That's the great if he gets off the front. But this is a bait to make others work to set somebody else up, I think, Quentin.
Yeah, exactly. I was just looking at Tom's scoring in the Ecrit series, and up until now, he's got only 5 points in 3 events, and he's been mostly working as a teammate for Tim, and it might be what's happening now because well, he's going at the front really early, and he's making sure the other one chase after him.
Now, Tim, going again on the downhill. This is from half a lap to go. Half a lap out. Full on orange numbers. Everything he had into that downhill. Here comes the aero power-up. Now, that's the thing is these aero power-ups are definitely going to be a factor in this attack for Tim because he's on a downhill and he's got Pidner here out of Germany trying to close it down, but nobody's on his wheel. This is going to be a moment of truth right here for the pack because if they can't bring him back, it's going to be Kern's for him. But what an early attack. He usually goes on the flat section right here, but 3 seconds out. Are they going to bring him back here? It looks like he's got Pidner, though, right along with him now, able to take a pull for him or maybe hold him up, but Pidner continues to go. 6 watts per kilogram here. Tim Cartwright, 8.6 watts per kilogram, 500 watts, 180 beats per minute. KRT maybe doubling up here. A win in the men's race, a win in the women's race. We'll see if it can happen. Now we've got the chase on, though. Tobias Mueller, we're seeing him up at the front. Kim Little now saying somebody's got to go. He's got no teammates to pull this back in. It might all be said and done, but it's only 3 seconds. Here goes Kim Little, though. 8 watts per kilogram, your series leader, looking to defend up and out of the saddle, but Tim Cartwright's got 9 watts per kilogram. Can he kick into 10? Because it looks like Tim Cartwright has an aero power-up, boys and girls. It might all be over. Fortune now coming though from Denmark. It looks like Phone is there as well. He's got 4 seconds to the line. 500 meters to go. Can he hold on to this gap though? KRT continuing their dominance so far of the E-Crit. And Kim Little trying, if he can. Here comes, it looks like Mail, though, with 11 watts per kilogram with that aero power-up going right on by. And I'm not sure that this is going to happen for Kim Little today. It looks like it's going to be Cartwright. Cartwright all the way to the line today. No, here comes Mail, though. Wrong. No, Mail.
Cartwright is done.
No. Scherzinski. No, it's Chizwanos. I was totally wrong. Way off. Oh my goodness. Last second there, boys and girls, to the line. Let's see if we can get that last 20 seconds there. I was way off. I called it early. Tim Cartwright went too early, boys and girls, and ended up getting taken down by Mail then, and then it was Phone right at the last second. Let's back this up here just a little bit real quick, actually, as that was crazy. And looking through here, let's go ahead one more time. It looks like he was caught with only like 100 meters to go. There's Mail going right on by. And then after that, it was Quizwonos, followed by Phone. And Mail trying to hold on to it. We get the top mode here in just a second, but solid effort there from Mail trying to get away, and then it came right to the line. And I believe Team Poland was just barely able to nip it right there at the line, followed up by P Phone. Phone not sacrificing too much, I believe, of his not sacrificing too much of his early on his effort. You know, he went with Cartwright early on, but he reserved, I think, for those last moments. We have a couple more sprints here coming to the line, but Cartwright went from half a lap and ended up suffering for it. I think he might have been outside the top 10. I'll have to double check the results. Quentin, you got any results in front of you yet?
Yeah, I have him in 12th place. I got Mel in first and Chris Vonos in second, but I think it's the other way around. Because from what we saw, Chris Vonos was in front of Mel at the line, but then again on Zwift Power, it's like a tenth of a second between the two, so we will have to wait for final results. Then we have Fawn in fourth, Soren Bay in fourth, Fawn is third, Whiteley in fifth. Then we have Potion, Turksma, Dempster, Bakelov, Phillips, and that's the top 10. Then we have Kim Little in 11, and Cartwright in 12, DeCoster and Poppy Merida taking a 15th place, Timmins 16th, and then Sinclair, Drujon, Kalen, then Iwansky. And that's the top 20, and I think that's where the points for the races stop.
That is a serious change up, though, in the top spots. I mean, Bale's not even the top. He's not even on the list. He's not even on the list. How many races do we have left? Can he actually complete the series?
Oh, Bay is third in the standings.
Yeah, Bay's
right
third
now
in the standings.
And so he might be the main winner today because with his fourth place and and third in the overall standings, he might be one of the main winners today. But what we have to remember is that there is still 7 races left, and still a lot can happen. And especially since, as we saw in the rules, we take the best 2 of the first batch, but overall, we are going to take the 7 best results from the.
Is it 7 or is it 8? Is it 7 or is it 8?
It's 7. I have it right now. It says 7. Okay. The 7 best results over the races.
So there's plenty of time. There's plenty of time for the winner today, for Male,
and
to take it down.
For Male, but as well for anyone that hadn't raced yet, you can still make your best 7 races in the remaining 7. And anything can happen from here on out.
Totally true. You still have 7 races. If you were to show up for the next 7 and you haven't raced yet, you can jump in here with these guys, with these girls, and kill it out here. So if you do want to race in the European eCrit Series, if you do want to race in the North American East or West, you can do so in the women's or the men's races here. We are looking at Rachel Elliott here, about to come around now. The reason, guys, I have to swap something up. I know that we ended up in the pens for my women's feed, and so I'm going to swap out these feeds real quick, and we'll be covering the finish for the women's, just so everybody knows. So we had a little bit of a dropout, I think, and ended up in the pens. So I do know that it does say men's over there, but we'll cover the women's finish here. Just a little swap. There we go. And so Rachel Elliott here, making her way to the line, 3.9 watts per kilogram, 157 beats per minute right now. Looks like it's barring any craziness at this point. Rachel Elliott's got this in the bag, and that's going to be her. Let's see here real quick. How many wins does Rachel Elliott have so far?
Well, you can count the wins, but it might be easier to count the races she didn't win out on Zwift. And both racing with the men and the women only, I think she's been beaten only twice on Zwift, and it was both in Paris at the CVR World Cup where she was first coming second in the second stage of the last day, and then coming fourth, I think, in the last stage that came to a sprint, and the two leaders let a couple of girls get away. But I mean, head to head, she's only been beaten once in all of her Zwift racing.
One time.
One time.
What
One
was it?
time.
What was that, Quentin?
If I do recall right because I rewatched it yesterday, but it was middle stage of the finals in Paris at the CVR World Cup, and it was on Watopia hilly reverse, and it was actually Marion Sicot from Vision Cycling who beat her, who went faster than her in the reverse KOM and held her to the finish line, and it came down to 2 seconds, I think, in the finish. But
That shows off,
that was
I think,
yeah.
Rachel's ability as a TT specialist. You know, definitely that is her forte. And she's still a super strong climber, but if there is any chink in the armor, it is going to be most likely in another discipline within cycling, like climbing or sprinting. As we've seen, I've seen her race amongst the men, and the play, she can hammer and walk away from a lot of the men out on Zwift, but when it gets into the kicks, because she's into that TT, she's into that solid, consistent effort. That is when maybe you might be able to get away. So we are seeing Rachel did just come across the line here. That was her finishing up with the W out there today. Now I'm no longer in the event here, so I need to find the front end of the women's race here. Actually, 19 miles in here, it looks like Vanderbridge maybe helping us out here. We've got, it looks like Croucher here as well. 12. There we go.
You have Hangerman. Yeah,
there we go. We're with him, with Kreider as well. So it is going to be the lead. Now this is coming into the finish right now. Actually, this is for the win. Actually,
yeah, that's the finish, and Angerman is going from way out.
8.29 watts per kilogram. Now with that Aero power up, actually, so Angerman here, she's been killing it over and over again, actually, just trying to make something happen. It looks like she is going to, though. She's got 5 seconds. I'm not sure she's going to be seen again. She's in that Zwift Academy kit, looking slick here right now, and it looks like 8 seconds off the front. It's all for third place out there today, but those points definitely matter still for those invites for the top 10 at the end of the series. But Angry, you're going to be taking second place out there today, walking away, not even a sprint finish, more like an early attack, actually, and went ahead and grabbed that W from these other ladies, actually. Well, the second place from the ladies. Now, Kreider, though, going with her Aero power up. Solid effort here. Look at 127 RPM walking away. There's third place on the day. And then it will be, I believe, Stevenson, McKay, Pole across the line, Engmo, Ludendorff, and then K-Hole coming from Vision Cycling there. Solid effort there. So Angerman with the second place, and then it was Kreider. That's a solid result for Kreider, actually.
Yeah, that's a very solid result because we saw Elliott in the world of her own, and we saw Angerman with that early attack in the finish. But the sprint we saw from Kreider was pretty impressive with almost 130 RPM. That's pretty crazy. When we saw the legs of her avatar going very fast, and well, you can only imagine that that on the trainer her legs were going as fast as this, and yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's hugely impressive. Oh, we lost them there again for a second, so we are getting bounced around just a little bit. So let's go ahead and take a look at the current series standings then. Rachel Elliott with another W. That's her fifth event, her fifth win. So it looks like she's going to be taking that down. Fred 76. Did we see Fred out there today?
I don't think she was there today. I don't think she was here.
Interesting. So Fred not out there throwing down within the women's race out there today. I'm just going to double check the live results And I am not seeing Fred 76, so she might be overtaken in the series here. As we look through here for the results, live results say Rachel Elliott, Patricia Engerman, Z Kreider. Now, Patricia here, this is interesting. She's currently sitting in 17th overall in the series, but with only one race and 19 points. So she's already took a second place. It was probably to Rachel, actually. She's going to be moving up
And it
very
was already
quickly.
on the volcano.
Say that
It
one more
was
time?
the first race. It was already on the volcano on the same course. She did the exact same thing that she did today, and well, seems like she got some continuance in her efforts.
Yeah, and she's gonna bump up to some top spots actually here, most likely overtaken to almost the top 10 actually. So solid effort there. Z Kreider though with that third place, she's gonna be bumping over the top of Fred 76 in the second. Anya Ludendorff there, we did see her out there, and she is finishing up in 9th place. She'll still be holding on to a solid, I think, 4th place, but we'll have to wait until they get all that figured out. I can't do the math any longer on those results. So it looks like Zwiftpower.com's got some interesting live results going on that I'm not sure what's happening there. So we'll have to wait for the results to come in officially from Zwift, because Vidar is currently sitting in 8th place, and as well as the rider out
You
of
might
Poland,
not be
Marcin.
looking at the same one I am. If you
Yeah,
look at the final results, you have them. You should have them.
I do not see anything in the final result. Okay, now I do. All right, now I do. So Marcin did take second. So Vidar, I just had to reload the page. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Quentin, it was only 500ths of a second actually. Marcin was right there in that finish actually. And so solid effort actually coming from him. Let's look at that one more time. We were unable to get the replay for the women's there. I was hoping to, but for the men's here, Tim Cartwright there at the finish, we saw that early attack from him, ended up fading at the line. They timed it perfectly. Look at all the aero power-ups, and look at the wattages, 193 beats per minute there coming from Mail, trying to hold off hard charging Marcin Walnus, as well as Peterphone coming out of Switzerland. Just barely holds him off at the line, it looks like there. Looks like Marcin might have nipped him, but according to Zwiftpower.com, you know, we might have a little bit of input lag there, just a little bit between the two. So, solid result there.
You know, you don't have two screens that show the exact same thing on Zwift. So maybe our screen was maybe a little bit delayed of one of the two rider, and it comes down to, like you said, half the tenths of a second. So, I mean, if Zwift Power says Mel came in first, I mean they have tracker on the course that gets the time from every rider and the real times, so they are more accurate than any video we can have.
Yep, exactly. They actually have watchers on course at the finish line. Seeing the bits or whatever, like not the, like they actually see the avatars digital marker go by at that moment, and so it actually tracks exactly, rather than our image, which might be a little bit different than what is actually happening. So all right, thanks everybody for tuning in. I think that's going to be up for us for the European eCrit here, presented by Tax, but we do have the North American East, as well as community coverage of the West for North America, presented by Cyclops later today. Don't go anywhere. If you are in those regions, you can still sign up. There's 8 races to go to take a best 7. Make sure to jump into the races, and plenty of racing to go on. If you're not going to race, you can come and hang out with us and cover it with us. Get involved in the broadcast. There's always the social media integration as well, where you can interact with us, ask questions, all that goodness. here are the dates as well for the men's and the women's European. If you do want to, and as well the men's European NA as well as NA and NA East and West, going all the way through February 22nd. And so if you do want to get involved, do jump out on Zwift or jump into the broadcasts and follow along with us. So Quentin, great racing out there today between all the riders. You know, the men's race was definitely very active. Like, it wasn't the usual sit around. Cartwright was just blowing things up off the front. We ended up paying for it a little bit, seems like.
Yeah, it was definitely very interesting to follow when, Tim Cartwright made it very interesting to follow with, we saw him attack a lot of times and again. And we saw that group of 7 with 2 karate rider, 1 team pole and 1 innovation.
I thought that was going to go.
I also thought that was going to go. And it was the right move. And I think after the race today, some DSs might get some riders might get an earful from their DS.
So Director Sportif, for those who are unfamiliar with racing, cycling racing, so the team director,
team managers are going to be quite pissed tonight. And some riders are going to get an earful, I think. But in the end, it worked out quite well for KRT since they took the win with Vidal Mel. And it might be a shot for them to get 2 riders actually in the live event. So why not? Any tactic is good as long as it gets you the win.
Quentin, they have opportunity because it's your best of there's best 7, so there's a lot of opportunity there, right? I mean, I thought it was 8. Are you sure that it's 7? I swear I don't want to keep on
7.
saying.
I do have it like literally right there.
Okay,
I can touch it.
Making sure.
And
okay. All right, just making sure.
And it says 7, unless they change the way they write numbers. But it's 7.
So there's a lot of opportunity there then for Vidar and maybe some others who aren't on the leaderboard yet, who are part of that team. Yeah. And Tim, maybe, I don't know. I think he wanted to win, but maybe there's a little bit of team tactics that can come out of that in order to get more into the finals. So we'll have to see. In the women's, again, it was all about what races does Rachel not win. It was cool to hear that she wasn't completely unstoppable, but the solid race out there for the women. Rachel Elliott taking that W out there today, followed up by Patricia Angerman, and then it was I believe Z Kreider with that solid sprint across the line. Maria Svensson, Kirsten Pohl, Nicole McKay on Z Power though, so I do not believe she can actually take that spot. We'll see if she does get relegated. Kaz Jen, Ziv Engmo, Annie Lundorf in 9th place. Willem Didge, Prince, Kirsty Hoyle, Sarah Croucher follows up by Claire Reed, and then Jerlene Vanderbeek. Ola, 15th place, followed by Hannah Anderson, Sonia Inslee, Yvette Salarich, and then it will be Emma Jocelyn and then Jen Doyle for all the points out there today. All right, everybody, that's us from Zwift Community Live. Quentin, thank you so much for hanging out. We'll see everybody in just a few hours for the North American eCrit Series presented by Cyclops. As always, great job to all the racers. Solid effort out there, and right on.